Okay, so foam rolling part 1. If you got a little bit of the shoulder from that last video and back, we're just finishing up with the lat. Okay, so we've done this. We're gonna do the other side, of course. So make sure you pause the video and do your other lat and other shoulder, whether you want to or not. You gotta do both. All right. Oh, that's so good. Sometimes once you get that to release, things adjust and it feels really amazing. Okay, so let's pretend that I went to the other side. Because I'm recording live in here, it's only giving me like 8 to 10 minutes. So I wanna spend time on rolling all the things. Just make sure to pause and move to the other side. Okay, so we've done the full back, we've done under the shoulder and the lat. We can do in the pec. You can do your pec over top of the roller right here, and you're gonna roll kind of this way and that way. Don't roll over your breast tissue, and don't roll over your shoulder in the front here, okay? We just wanna go kind of in the muscle. You'll know when you're in the muscle, and you'll know when you're getting into your joint, okay? We can't roll out tendons. They don't have blood flow, they're not a muscle. They're white, not red, on an anatomy chart for a reason. They can't create length. Muscles stretch, tendons do not. Tendons hold, they're fibrous, they're white because, like I said, they don't have blood flow. But they're holders. They are binding and keeping our muscles attached to the tendon, which is attaching it to the bone, okay? So just make sure that you're not trying to roll a tendon because it's not gonna happen. So I don't spend a lot of time on the pec here just because I'm not super tight there, but if you are, spend a little bit more time kind of coming across and through here. All right, so next, I'll show you some of the balls after I lay on the roller. This is one of my favorites, and if you get headaches, like I do, if you have cervical spine issues and you get headaches, this is gonna be a great one once we scooch up and hang off the edge. So your arms are gonna be out like a T for this one, and you've probably done these on the wall, where you do the little spider finger crawls, trying to keep your hands in contact with the mat the whole time. Now, if you can't do this, you have some shoulder dysfunction, okay? So if you can't keep your hands on the floor all the way around in this full circular motion, there's some dysfunction at your shoulder joint, probably in the rotator cuff in the front or somewhere in the back. So if that means you have to bring your arms up and then put them back down where you can, that's okay. Make sure to turn your palms down where you need to, and then turn your palms up where you need to. And as we're doing these, we're trying not to let our shoulders creep up into our ears, okay? So then you can also bring your arms up toward the ceiling and work on retraction, like I'm trying to squeeze the roller between my shoulder blades, and protraction, where I'm trying to kind of round my upper back a bit. So retraction, retracting my shoulder blades together, kind of like when you hear people say, pinch your shoulders together like you're pinching a pencil. That's kind of what we're feeling here, but it's wider. And then push it up into protraction. Okay, retraction, pinch the roller, protraction, wide, rounder, longer, stronger back like a bull. And then pull it back down. So these are just some ways to really kind of open up through the shoulders and the scapula. And then I'm gonna creep up so that my head is kind of hanging off the edge of the roller here. Now, once I do that, I can find some spots right at the base of your skull. It's called your occipital bone, that occipital joint, or the occiput, okay? So when I'm at that occiput, sometimes people get dizzy when their head hangs off something like this. So just come back on a little bit if you need to. I like it when it comes off a little bit more for me, that I can really feel that thing dig in to the edge of that occipital spot. When you get a massage, they put their fingers in there and they traction it out. That's what this is doing, and it feels so lovely. So you just want to turn your head in all directions, making sure that you're letting your head kind of move through those little chunkier muscle spots. Like right here, I'm on a really, really tight hot spot. So I'm just gonna breathe. Big inhales and big exhales. Sometimes when I get one of those spots that are kind of, make you kind of feel woozy, you just wanna rock it side to side. Maybe go up and down a little bit, shake your head yes, and shake your head no. And just kind of let some of that tension fall out of your neck. If you're not one that can lift your head very well, use your hands, stretch it up, and then let it go back down. And again, you can stay on here for as long as you need or want to. The lacrosse balls are next. So I'm gonna put these in between my shoulder blades, and I'm just gonna kind of roll. It's basically just outside my spine, so I'm not rolling on my actual spine here. And I'm gonna just kind of inch up and down. When I get here, my shoulder upper traps are really tight, so I just kind of rock side to side, and you'll find what works for you. You'll find if this is too intense that you go up against the wall and roll against the wall with the balls between you. But you'll figure out what works for you. And this is a good one too, just kind of taking those arms up and over, but keeping your rib cage tight. We call this rib cage arms because your arms should be attached at your shoulder and with your ribs, but you should be able to move your arms without moving and popping your rib cage. And if you can't, that's something to work on without the balls underneath there, because those are gonna create a little bit of discomfort and limit your range of motion. But these are really good exercises if you find that you have a lot of tension in your upper back, all right? Now we're gonna move those balls, and you can roll and take these all the way down, but I'm not gonna do that today just for sake of time. You'll find the spots that need it. I'm right above, like at the top of my glutes, right where my tailbone is, maybe just a little bit higher than my tailbone. And I'm going to find those little tight spots in the low back and that sacral joint. So your sciatic nerve runs along here. So if you do these and your pain gets worse, you need to stop, because you're probably impinging maybe your muscle. Your nerve runs over top of your muscle, and so you're actually irritating the nerve. So try these. If they don't make it better, stop, okay? So as I find that spot that's tight, I just can kind of windshield wiper either one at a time or both of my knees open and closed. In the beginning, I couldn't do both of my knees. It was just too intense. And then coming out into that butterfly position, finding that glute that's tight there, rolling to the other side. I could not do that. It would have killed me. It's just so intense in the beginning. So I get it if you can't do both. So now I moved it to my, like outside in the high part of my glute in my butt cheek there. So now I'm only rolling the leg that's closest to the camera, which is my left leg. And my right leg is my guide. And I'm rolling across it, kind of like I'm going side to side, but then you can also go up and down a little bit as well. And what this is doing is it's releasing some of that gluteus medius and gluteus minimus, which are those high part of your glutes that lift your butt up. So we want those to be strong because that protects and strengthens our back. We talked about that a little bit on the leg extension day, but we also need them to not be like so bound up that they're just like almost like a permanent cramp, okay? So that's why this one's so good. Again, not rolling on your hip bone or in that joint socket, because you don't want to create bursitis. Hip bursitis is no bueno, nobody wants that. Okay, so after you've done this side, we would switch to the other side. For sake of time, I'm just gonna be like lopsided, okay? Because I know this is gonna shut off on me soon. So what I wanna do is quick lay on the so right, okay? This comes right above my pubic bone and under my hip bones and never to my ribs. And this is one of those things that doesn't feel super great when you first lay on it. But as you relax into it, it starts to release those muscles in the front of your hip flexor, and it helps with increasing how much extension we can do once that psoas muscle isn't so tight and kind of pulling against our spine. This also helps alleviate my back pain. So like I said earlier, when I have really tight low back and I lay on this for 3 to 5 minutes, it helps a lot. All right, so next up I'll address the